The new functions in SketchList 3D are possibly easiest to understand or organize by taking a look at the icon panel at the top of the screen. I'm going to go through one by one and explain the icon and what its function is and how you use it in SketchList 3D. Rather than going from left to right, I'm going to use these icons as you might if you were designing something, in this case a simple box. So the first icon after the project is created is to drag in a new assembly into that project, and that's how that is done. The assembly is defaulted to the size of the project. You can change or edit that as required. The next icon we'll look at is this red dot icon, and that's a switch. It turns red dots on and off, and as it's labeled, show resize points. And what that does is that puts red dots on the surfaces of the assembly, and these red dots allow you to resize an assembly in a couple of different ways. One is to simply take that red dot and drag it with your mouse, bringing it to the size that you would like your assembly to be. I'll explain the function of this pink box in a bit. The other is I can right click a red dot and set a specific size, and in the case of height I can either do the top or the take that and drag it, or you can right click it and enter. Now the pink plane I'll explain after I start to put the box together. That determines what is and what is not going to be resized, and it's a little bit difficult to explain without parts, so we'll do that in a little while. There are now 4 insert board icons. One is add a board, which is the form that more experienced SketchList users are familiar with, because at one point this was the only new board form. But what we've done is we've taken that concept and created 3 new icons, and when you click on the board, it's going to insert that type of board into the assembly. So if I wanted to put, for example, a shelf into this assembly, all I have to do is click that icon and the shelf appears directly. The next step might be to go in and change the grain direction and the material, and in coming revisions and very shortly this will come to a default, so you may not have to go through this step. But the advantage is that it's a lot quicker, because now I can grab the red dots and just resize my board, and in a couple clicks I have a board established. So this icon is for the horizontal or shelf-like board. This icon is for the vertical, or call it sideboard, divider type board, and I can put in another one and take this one and just slide it off that way, pick up its size. And then this is the backboard. Take that and move it this way. Again, do a little red dot resizing, bring that up a bit, just drag that out to here. Now here I want to use the blue dots, since red dots resize and blue dots locate. So I have a front value of 33. Take this one, put its front value in as 33 and say OK. And really in a couple of key clicks I have Could even do one more or clone that, pull it up to the top, and in very fast manner I have my carcass. And this is the legacy new board form, where you would go in, individually pick and set the sizes and pick the material type and material, and that would introduce a new board into the assembly as well. The next three icons allow you to introduce containers into your assembly. This is to insert hardware, this is to insert a door, and this is to insert a drawer. So all you really have to do is click them. Insert the drawer, red dot, resize, like this. And again, you can right click the red dot, say that this is a 5-inch drawer. This has a, say, a 16-inch depth, and there is your drawer. Now what you can do is take a board and drag it into the drawer. SketchList identifies that there are two possible targets for that board, and in this case I want to put it into the drawer. So it puts the board into the drawer. I can take this and resize it. Probably want to switch that grain direction to a width. If I come back to the assembly level, I have the front of my drawer, and the door works the same way. And take the door and resize it as I want to use it. Again, bringing a board in, and in this case it's going to say there are three possible targets, and I'm going to pick the door for my door. Come back to the assembly level, take that door, slide it over to the left. And finally, hardware works the same, although hardware can be added into a door or a drawer as well as an assembly directly. So here I could put the hardware into the door. Hardware is just like any other design element in SketchList. You would take this and resize it and then add some material to it, probably a metal looking material, to create your piece of hardware. The next two icons on that icon strip are the red dots and the blue dots. You turn these on and off by clicking that icon. So the red dots first, and the red dots resize, and we've been seeing that over and over again in this video. You can either resize by dragging, or you can resize by right clicking. That has a right value of 53. I can set that right value of being 53, and those two boards are going to end up in the same place. And you can resize in any direction. You can make a board thicker or thinner, whatever your requirement is. One of the concepts that the red dot resize introduces is this of the pink box. Now I'm going to hide my general spreadsheet and move my hierarchical form over just to make some more room on my screen. And you'll notice that when I click the red dot, this pink box appears. And basically the rule is anything that this pink box cuts is going to be resized. And the reason that's important or valuable is, in this case, I'd want to resize the rails and perhaps the drawer, but I don't want the styles to be affected by the resizing. So indeed, if I do this, in this case, I don't want the styles to be resized. So because the pink box isn't touching the style, neither style is changed in size, but the rails are and the drawer is. Now this gets even more comprehensive. I can take that pink box and drag it forward so it only touches the rails. So now those rails are the only objects being intersected by the pink box. So now when I resize, you see that the drawer stays the same. It's a very powerful tool in SketchList 3D. One more time, anything cut by the pink box is going to be resized. Anything, in this case, to the left of the pink box is going to keep its size and keep its location. Anything to the right of the pink box, in this case, is going to keep its size but be moved to the left by the amount of the resizing. The next icon in the icon strip is the blue dot. Blue dots are extremely powerful and will cut your design time radically. To turn the blue dot on, just click that icon and select the object. The function of a blue dot is to locate objects relative to other objects, and you do that in SketchList 3D by using their corners. If you right-click the blue dot, you can see the different locational values, left, bottom, and front. If I want to butt these blocks together up front, I right-click the blue dot and copy its value. I go here and right-click and paste. And now, because those two values of this block and that block at that point are the same, they butt. So I can come there, right-click that, copy, go here, right-click that, paste. Now it's another location value. The caution is to make sure you're using the correct blue dot. If I take this blue dot and paste it, copy its value, I take this blue dot and I paste its value thinking it's going to be okay, this would cause this block to be outside the front of the assembly, and it's not allowed in SketchList. So that's the caution. The other thing you can do with a blue dot is if you hold down the Shift key and grab a blue dot, you can move an object around in any direction. It's the combination of the blue dots that makes them so powerful. The next icon shows the point of origin of any object. This is helpful especially when you rotate an object and want to know where the point of origin was before the rotation. This next icon will show you the point of origin of any object. This is helpful especially if you are moving or rotating objects. If I take that object and I rotate it by, say, 180 that way, well, say 90, the rotation always occurs on the point of origin, so this display helps you understand why the board rotated the way it did and also where the point of origin is. The final icon is that of a tape measure. If you click that to highlight or to activate the icon, the letter T on your keyboard, and click the spot you want to measure from. Then move to the spot you want to measure to. From that spot to this spot is 57 and 9/32. So from that spot to that spot. holding down the T key from spot 1 to spot 2. Now these are not dynamic. If I take this object, for example, and move it, that's not going to change. And if you want to delete it, just click on it again. It's a design aid. This has been a review of the new icons and new functionalities in the latest build of SketchList version 4.